Snapped the Lakers' 7-game winning streak with a dominant 125-108 victory at Crypto.com. First loss for the Lakers since November 12th at OKC. Dylan the Villain Brooks led Phoenix with 33 points and a lot of trash talking for LeBron and Lakers fans. LeBron finished with only 10 points in 31 minutes. The Clippers lost at Miami 140-123, fifth straight loss for the Clippers, who are now 5-16. Former Clippers guard Norman Powell led Miami with 30 points. The Clippers trading Powell after last season makes no sense at all. They really could use him now. Powell is leading Miami in scoring with 25 a game. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has surgery Monday on his fractured left hand. The 8-4 Chargers are unsure if Herbert will be available for Monday night's game against Philadelphia at SoFi. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Celebrate the soul of the holidays and support Altadena and Pasadena. Join us on Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, a joyful night of Motor City soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalist, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This performance comes at a pivotal time for many in Altadena and Pasadena. This is their first holiday season since the devastating Altadena Eden Canyon fire, which destroyed homes and community spaces. While the physical losses are immense, the power of community remains, and your attendance directly supports recovery, resilience, and renewal. So, be sure to join us Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, benefiting survivors of the Altadena Eden Canyon fire. For ticket information, just log on to tickets@thewallace.org. That's tickets@thewallace.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580 and the Black Freedom Fund.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour of our program. And in this hour, as promised, a conversation about how Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Myrlie Evers-Williams, Rosa Parks, and others handled the stress of the Civil Rights era. A conversation right now with Tara Pringle Jefferson about her new text. It's called Bloom How You Must. Bloom How You Must, a Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. Tara, good to have you on. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Let me just jump right in, make the most of this time that we have. This audience knows I say this all the time, but I'm always fascinated by the backstory. We'll get to the story of Coretta and Betty and Rosa and Myrlie and Toni Morris and others. We'll get to all that in a second here. But I'm always fascinated by the backstory. Tell me why and how this book comes to be.
Yeah, this book is really like the physical manifestation of 10 years of work that I have done as the founder of a digital wellness community for Black women. I created the Self-Care Suite about 10 years ago. And in that time, I've had gatherings all over the country with Black women of all ages, really. And one of the things that has always been a constant in our conversations, our gatherings, sister circles, is this idea of who taught you how to take care of yourself? And so we're always looking backwards in order to go forwards. We're always looking at our mothers, our grandmothers, all of these women who came before us and the examples that they set. And I wanted to go a little bit deeper than just having these conversations, these one-off conversations, one afternoon in Atlanta or an afternoon in Cleveland or an afternoon in New York, but to really give my audience and Black women in general, nationwide, an opportunity to really go deep with this conversation and think about what are the seeds of their wellness journeys, where did they get some of these habits and things that they find themselves doing, where they find themselves exhausted, they find themselves unable to say no to people. They're really living that strong Black woman life. And I wanted to create something that they could carry, that they could go deep, that they could have some reflection. And that's how we got to Bloom How You Must.
Tell me about the genesis of your curating this self-care suite a decade ago.
Mm-hmm. You know, it really came from a personal place. It really did. I was, a decade ago, I was just turning 30, and I was in a personal place myself where I was dealing with some depression. I was dealing with, I think a lot of 30-year-olds can relate, just trying to find my place. I was a mother of 2 at the time, and thinking about how I wanted, the rest of my life to look. I really had to stop and take stock of where I was. And I decided I wanted to take that journey, not just by myself, but with other people. And the self-care suite was born out of that desire to gather Black women together, because I strongly believe that when you get a number of women in the room, the answer to what ails us is in there. It's in the mix somewhere. And so that was the genesis of the self-care suite, was to go on this journey myself, but then also to take other people with me along the journey. And now, a decade later, we're at about 1,200 members, and we've grown, slowly and intentionally, because it's not necessarily about, having thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but it's just about having people that you trust, about having people that have good energy, people who want to see you win. And I'm really thankful that I took that leap that started from that personal journey a decade ago, because now I have this book, Bloom How You Must, and it really encapsulates so much of what that community is about. It's full of the voices of women from that community as well. And so I am really thrilled that I didn't ignore that urge to create the self-care suite all those years ago, because I truly do believe we heal in community, and community is often missing, particularly nowadays. It's often missing in the lives of so many Black women. So I'm grateful that I could bring that to light for so many women around the country.
I love the title, Bloom How You Must. Bloom How You Must. We'll unpack that, or give her a chance, Tara Pringle Jefferson, to unpack that as we move through this hour. When we come forward, though, I'm fascinated by what Tara says a moment ago, and I want to give her some space to sort of wrestle with this here in this conversation. And each of us, to be sure, has our own unique journey. And yet I'm fascinated by the journey that Black women find themselves on, as she put it, trying to find themselves. Put another way, trying to figure out how, as Black women, they show up in the world. Put yet another way, this search for identity. I think that's where I want to continue this conversation when we come forward with the author of the book, Bloom How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. Her name is Tara Pringle Jefferson, and you're listening to her right now on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Be BET, and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR. The cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, continuing our conversation now with Tara Pringle Jefferson, author of the new book, Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. So you were saying a moment ago, Tara, and I want to come back to this, about one of the reasons, I should say, that you commenced your brand of Work and Witness a decade or so ago. Was born of some depression and your own personal journey, trying to find your place and figure out what it all means, and this notion of how you show up in the world and identity and all of that. And I suspect you have learned in community, to use your word, with all these other black women, that you aren't the only one on that particular journey. Obviously, each of us has a unique journey. But I wonder if you might say something about the through lines as you have discovered them, for how black women have to navigate, the challenges they have to navigate on their particular journey, trying again to figure out how they show up in the world.
Yeah. The main through line, there's two that I highlight in the book. And the first one, and actually they go together, really. The first one is strength, and the second one is exhaustion. And so as you grow up, in this society as a Black woman, there's so much socialization. There's so much of a flesh and blood example of what it means to be strong, what it means to keep going even when you're tired, what it looks like to work 2 and 3 jobs to help provide for your family. You're fed all of these messages about strength and, keep going and you don't give up. And it really does begin to take up like that primary space in your mind. And it's very hard to undo so much of that messaging. And because we have so much of that messaging, myself and so many other Black women that I know, we are exhausted. I opened the book with a story about when I was 24 years old.
Did we lose Tara? Let's double check. Tara, you there? I think the line may have taken a hit. It happens from time to time on live radio. The line that she's almost taken a hit, so we're going to get her back on in just a second. She was just getting warmed up here. The book is called, again, Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. Our guest is Tara Pringle Jefferson, who I think is back. Tara, you there?
I'm here.
You're on a roll. Keep going.
I'm here. Yes, yes. So I was talking about the story at the beginning of my book where I was 24 years old and having, all these different health issues piling up, and I'm not even noticing because I'm just doing what I've seen my mother do. I'm doing what I've seen my grandmother do. And it's just not out of the ordinary for me to really be working myself to death. And it wasn't until that doctor in that urgent care told me to go home and rest and get in the bed and not get out for 2 or 3 days. It wasn't until I realized that she gave me a literal prescription to rest. And that was the first of the aha moments that I had where I had to say to myself, okay, how do I want the rest of my life to look? Do I want to end up in and out of hospitals dealing with all the physical ailments that stress can bring? Or do I want to take on a different role? Do I want to make sure that I am living the best life possible for myself and shedding some of those ideas about what strength looks like and shedding some of those ideas about what exhaustion looks like and making sure that exhaustion is not my default. And that is the case for so many Black women. Exhaustion is definitely our default. And I hope through, this book and books like it and other people who are across the country developing sister circles and investing in their friendships, we're all kind of taking stock of where we are in this moment and trying to shift what it means to be a Black woman. It doesn't have to necessarily be synonymous with exhaustion or being run down or being tired. We can be energetic, we can be joyful, we can be all of these other things that we can pull to the forefront.
So for those who are listening right now, I'm playing devil's advocate, so brace yourself, Tara. You can handle it. Brace yourself, though.
Sure.
So for those who are listening right now, and who ain't buying it. They're hearing a bunch of poppycock. How do you respond to this notion that Black women ain't the only ones who are stressed? Everybody's stressed these days. Y'all aren't the only ones exhausted. I'm exhausted. Everybody's exhausted. So the flip side of this journey that Black women have to navigate that is, in fact, uniquely different than the journey that anybody else has to navigate. I grant you that, hence my asking the question and giving you a chance to respond. But for those who listen and say, okay, come on, Tara, stress, exhaustion, we're all feeling that. So you sound like you're whining. And to that, you say what?
Well, first, I would say that we live in a society where it's extraordinarily hard to be well, right? It's extraordinarily hard to be well. And I think that the concept of this is, people, Black women whining or, everybody has it bad, that kind of mindset keeps us stuck in old patterns. You may think to yourself, and I know a lot of people that I've talked to, they may think to themselves, well, my grandma did it, right? She didn't complain. My great grandma did it. She had a hard life. She didn't complain. Even if you didn't hear her complain, doesn't mean the life wasn't hard. It doesn't mean she didn't deserve better. It doesn't mean that life should have been easier for her. It doesn't mean that she deserved the stress and the strain and the difficult times that she went through. And so with my work and what I'm doing, it's about real world consequences. So we think about stress as like, oh, I'm stressed, and that's just some type of buzzword that's in the air. Stress has real physical outcomes for our health. We think about Black women, we think about weathering, we think about how Black women biologically have, markers that show that they are aging faster than their counterparts. We think about Black women's the numbers of Black women with high blood pressure. We think about the number of Black women who are depressed and without proper mental health resources in their communities. We think about all of these things as, real world issues. We can talk about stress and we can talk about exhaustion as if there's something that's light and frivolous or something that everybody goes through. Everybody should be talking about this. Everybody should be thinking about the ways that stress shows up in their lives and exhaustion shows up in their lives in a way that we can all push back against it and try to figure out how are we going to be well in a society that makes it really difficult.
Yeah. One of the things, and there's a lot that she covers in this book. Once again, in case you've just tuned in, our guest is Tara Pringle Jefferson. The book is called Bloom How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. She's done the research. She has done the research, and I intimated earlier at the top of our program, I guess an hour and a half ago or so now, that what I find fascinating about her book, and I'm glad she did it, is the research on what black women have endured and how they've navigated. And she makes it clear that self-care is not a trend among black women. It has always been a through line in the heritage of black women. She goes into how Coretta Scott King and Betty Shabazz and Myrlie Evers-Williams, the women who were married to these giants, Martin Luther King Jr. and Brother Malcolm X and Medgar Evers, how they would enjoy girls' trips to take breaks from the stress of the civil rights movement. She talks about Rosa Parks who attended and led yoga classes in Detroit. She talks about the long and enduring friendship of Oprah and Gail and how they've leaned on each other. She talks about Toni Morrison's overflowing gardens and lush houseplants that she would tend to while she was writing those best-selling books that led to her Nobel Prize in Literature. She talks about Audre Lorde, and on and on the book goes. Before she gets to a contemporary analysis of all that black women endures, she does some research about historically how black women have had to navigate this tricky terrain. So let's spend some time talking about the research and about these historic women that I just referenced a moment ago.
Sure. I really did. I wanted to start the book with some of these historical references because I firmly believe, as the old saying goes, if you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. And for a lot of people, they do think, to your point, a few moments ago, they do think that wellness is a new conversation. They do believe that wellness is something, millennials are making up and Gen Z are making up. But if you look back at our history, and my book isn't the only one to go back and research this history, there's many others that I've read as I was writing Bloom How You Must that really allowed me to understand how deeply embedded wellness actually is in our history. It doesn't look the same as it may today. As I write in the book, for a lot of our ancestors and our foremothers, wellness may look more like a whisper than a roar. But it is there. It is there. And so when you think about, I love the example of Toni Morrison. And as she's, working as an editor and a writer, and she's raising her two kids alone as a single mother in New York and a few other places, she talked about how she tended to her houseplants, and she was an avid bird watcher. And she grew this beautiful jade bush that she got from a cutting from Nelson Mandela. And she grew it from a single cutting to a 3-foot wide bush. That takes care and that takes patience. And that really allowed her to give herself an opportunity to slow down as she's doing all these other things. Toni Morrison also talked about her relationships with other writers like Sonia Sanchez and how they would show up to her apartment with bags of groceries and tell her to get out of here and go do something for yourself, and I'll watch your kids. And so all of those are beautiful examples of historically what wellness has looked like for Black women. It looks like showing up when your friend hasn't even asked you yet, but showing up anyway with groceries and saying, I'll watch your kids. It looks like gardening. Like Alice Walker wrote in the book, In Search of Our Mother's Garden, she wrote about her mother and her mother's, green thumb, how she would grow these beautiful gardens that people would stop on the street and park and walk up and just walk through and just take a look. And so we look at that historical perspective, and we know that that wellness has always been there for Black women. And with Bloom How You Must, I'm simply asking us to take a look at it and bring it to the forefront of our lives today.
Mm-hmm. It seems to me that at its core, at its foundation, self-care is ultimately about stress management. And if I'm right about that, what do we learn in the book about the notions of stress management?
Mm-hmm. In some cases, self-care is about stress management, because there's certain aspects of life that you can't control. Things are going to happen, whether it's something as simple yet aggravating as a flat tire that you get on the way to work, or if it's something deeper like a health problem that pops up. so much of life is outside of our control. And so stress management does come into play, where we have to think about how we respond to those stressors, how we call in help or how we don't call in help, and what does each of those decisions mean for us. But in other cases, in those areas where we do have a little bit more control in terms of, who we're in relationship with, whether platonically or romantically, where we are, how we're spending our free time, how we're tending to the obligations that we have around us. In some of those cases, we can do one step better than stress management and just kind of figuring out how to manage all of the stressors that come at us, but we can do something deeper and do stress elimination. And so, again, I think self-care is so widely talked about right now, but I think at its core, it's simply about figuring out what it is that you need and figuring out how to get it.
Mm-hmm. I've been reading a lot in addition to your book, and because of your book, I've been reading a lot preparing for this conversation so that I'd be ready for you today. And I don't know how I'm doing, but let me push forward anyway. So thank you. I appreciate that. I was reading a piece about self-care specifically as it relates to African American women. Mm-hmm. And the piece was really raising this question about whether or not we're getting self-care wrong. Are we getting this notion of self-care wrong? I just mentioned a moment ago that, to my mind, at least, self-care is ultimately, or certainly partially, about stress management. I take your point. It's not completely about that. Okay, we agree on that. But are we getting self-care wrong? And these are questions that are directed specifically at Black women in the particular piece I was reading. But I want the audience to listen to these questions because they're questions that really are relevant, I think, for all of us when it comes to self-care. So just follow me here. Mm-hmm. When we think about self-care, we think about a number of things that we can do to, sort of pull us away from the stress that we are enduring, put another way, to manage the stress that we are enduring. But these are 4 or 5 questions I want to raise now, and then we'll let Tara walk us through them. So is exercise really about self-care, or is it a distraction? Here's one question. Exercise, one of the options. One of the first options that we think about when it comes to managing stress. But is that really self-care or is it a distraction? Binge watching television, something all of us tend to do. Is that really about self-care or is it a distraction? Spending time with loved ones, is that really about self-care or a distraction? And some of that depends on what loved ones you're spending time with. Amen to that. I can say amen to that. Drinking, here we go, self-medicating. Is that really about self-care or is that a distraction? We just had on this program Dr. Funmi Olapade, who comes on this program, Tara, every October, the leading Black physician when it comes to breast cancer for Black women, specifically a triple negative based out of Chicago. And she just told us a month or so ago that the reason, what the data is telling them now, is that one of the reasons that more Black women than ever are contracting cancer, never mind all the gains that we're making in treating triple negative and other forms of breast cancer, is that too many Black women are drinking too much. Too many Black women drinking too much. And there now is a direct link between drinking and breast cancer. So is drinking really self-care or distraction? We think about yoga, and we just talked about Rosa Parks, not just teaching yoga, doing yoga, but teaching it in Detroit. Is breath work really about self-care or distraction? I'll pause there. I think you take my point. There are a number of things that we can point to as options, as alternatives, as solutions to help us manage the kind of stress that many of us are under. We're talking specifically right now about Black women. But ultimately, are these things really about self-care? Are they things that we do to distract us from the pressures and the stressors that we feel? I'll pause there for now. I will cut Tara Pringle Jefferson loose when we come forward to opine on that, as she will. The book is called Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. More with Tara Pringle Jefferson when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Florida lawmakers are weighing 4 constitutional amendments to cut property taxes. Critics like Representative Toby Overdorf warn cities could struggle to fund police and may hike fees.
Property taxes are now going to be hitting almost $60 billion collected statewide.
The governor argues homeowners shouldn't pay rent through property taxes. Chicago's budget fight is heating up. Alderman Scott Waguespack said the city leaves $1 billion uncollected each year and sent Black Mayor Brandon Johnson some savings ideas, which he dismissed as impractical. He also opposes Johnson's proposed $21 per worker monthly head tax. And Michael Jordan is suing NASCAR in federal court, calling it a monopoly. Jordan, co-owner of 2311 Racing, refused to sign NASCAR's new revenue deal, saying it limits team earnings. NASCAR denies any anti-competitive behavior. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a rough night for both of LA's NBA teams. The Phoenix Suns snapped the Lakers' 7-game winning streak with a dominant 125-108 victory at Crypto.com. First loss for the Lakers since November 12th at OKC. Dylan the Villain Brooks led Phoenix with 33 points and a lot of trash talking for LeBron and Lakers fans. LeBron finished with only 10 points in 31 minutes. The Clippers lost at Miami 140-123, fifth straight loss for the Clippers, who are now 5-16. Former Clippers guard Norman Powell led Miami with 30 points. The Clippers trading Powell after last season makes no sense at all. They really could use him now. Powell is leading Miami in scoring with 25 a game. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has surgery Monday on his fractured left hand. The 8-4 Chargers are unsure if Herbert will be available for Monday night's game against Philadelphia at SoFi. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
KBLA Talk 1580 remembers Robin Ayers on the 1-year anniversary of her passing. 1 year ago this week, we lost a remarkable and vibrant voice. Robin Ayers touched countless lives through her passion, her love, her service, and her smile, which you could see through the radio. KBLA Talk 1580 honors her memory and celebrates the legacy she left behind. Robin, your spirit lives on in every conversation, in every connection, and in every one of us, inspired by your voice. Gone, but never forgotten. KBLA Talk 1580, where voices matter.
I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns. I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Tara Pringle Jefferson, author of the new book, Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. In case you've just tuned in, I put a list of things to Tara a moment ago regarding self-care and whether or not women and men, but we're talking primarily about women, whether or not we're getting it wrong, or what really accounts for, what really determines what qualifies as real self-care versus stuff that we do to distract us from the stress that we're under. I'm seeing all kind of responses already, Tara, from people listening right now. Here's one. Tavis, equating self-sacrifice with worthiness is a powerful trope in the black community for both men and women. I love that line. Equating self-sacrifice with worthiness is a powerful trope in the black community for both men and women. We need to focus on self-care. And self-care, as far as I'm concerned, is whatever you need to feel a sense of calm and well-being. It is not cookie cutter. Just one of many responses I'm seeing. Tara Pringle Jefferson, the microphone is all yours.
Yes, thank you. And I love that response about self-care is not cookie cutter. And I think it goes back to your question about whether or not self-care, are we doing it right? Is some of these activities like binge watching or self-medicating with alcohol, is that a distraction? Is that really serving us in the long run? And one thing that I will say is that Black women often struggle with something called role strain, where we have multiple roles that we're struggling to fulfill in a way that is satisfactory across the board. So basically, we're trying to give 100% to every single one of these roles that we have. And sometimes we don't have it. We ain't got it. We're trying to be a mother. We're trying to be a student. We're trying to be a wife, an employee. We're working in the community. We're serving at church. We're doing all of these different things simultaneously. And at a certain point, we need to find some type of way to replenish ourselves. And so it could be something like, exercising. It could be something like yoga. There's a Black women's hiking group that I go out with, and we hike, a couple of miles throughout the forest and the local metro parks. And it's beautiful. We have great conversations. I'm huffing and puffing, trying not to step and trip over rocks and things like that. But it's beautiful because it's community and it's connection. And it gets me out of my head for an hour or two. Does it solve the stress that I have? Does it solve whatever problem I'm having at work or issues that I may be having with my kids or my husband or friendships? No, it doesn't. But it gives me enough space from that problem that I can breathe and I can access that part of my brain that allows me to problem solve much more effectively.
Yep.
So it's, yeah.
No, finish your point. So what? Finish your last point. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's really just a matter of figuring out ways that you can create that space in your life. So whether that is, exercise, like I said before, whether that's taking a long bath. I know a lot of people talk about self-care and they think, oh, it's not about bubble baths and it's not about this. But if you think about a bubble bath, you're submersing yourself into a warm body of water that has real effects on your body. It can lower your blood pressure, it relaxes your muscles. It gives you a sense of calm and ease in that moment that you may need. Anxiety and depression, all of that causes a lot of tension in the body. I always tell people to get their shoulders away from their ears. And baths help you to do that. So I think the more ways that we encourage Black women to find those spaces of calm for themselves in the midst of all the caring that they're doing for other people, the better.
Yeah, I want to go straightway inside the book, and let me just share with the audience what they're going to get, what they're going to see when they pick up this book, Bloom How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care for Generational Healing, a good Christmas gift, I might add. So there are 8 chapters in the text. Let me just give you the names of them, then I want to jump inside or let Tara take us inside a couple of these chapters. Chapter 1, Black Wellness Matters. We were just talking earlier in today's program about Black Voters Matter with Latasha Brown, who I love. Speaking of Black women, powerful Black women. But Chapter 1 is called Black Wellness Matters. Chapter 2, Going Home to Our Bodies, Physical Wellness. Chapter 3, Our Friends, Ourselves, Social Wellness. Chapter 4, Carving Out Our Own Lanes, Professional Wellness. Chapter 5, Fill Me Up, Spiritual Wellness. Chapter 6, Settling Our Nerves, Mental and Emotional Wellness. Chapter 7, Honoring Our Creativity, Creative Wellness. And Chapter 8, In Full Bloom. It's a wonderful text, and I love the way she laid it out with these chapters that really start to unpack all the different ways that Black wellness does matter, physically and socially and professionally and spiritually and emotionally and creatively. Again, it's the frame of the way that she has given this text makes it easy to read and easy to follow. So I want to pick a couple of these and just have you sort of just take us inside the chapters and sort of top line them for us. Sure. This is a show that has a lot of professional women listening to it across the country. For that, I am grateful. Chapter 4, Carving Our Own Lanes, Professional Wellness. We've talked about community. We've talked about family. We've talked about, we've been in that particular lane. We've not really jumped to this notion of how Black women find themselves well in professional spaces. Wonder if you might say a word about that.
Sure. That chapter is really all about Black women, whether you're in an office in the corporate world, if you're an entrepreneur making it happen for yourself in your own small business, or maybe you're doing both. A lot of Black women wear both hats. They're working their 9 to 5 and then they have their 5 to 9 after they get off. And so that chapter is really about expanding our notions of what success can mean to us. And I think my favorite part of that chapter is something that a lot of Black women don't get an opportunity to explore is the idea of a sabbatical. Mm-hmm. And so I talked to a lot of Black women. I even talked to one, Rashida Graham Washington, who had a organization called Sweet Rest that funded Black women's sabbaticals and gave them an opportunity to take 5, 6, 7 weeks off of work or even longer, depending on what your needs were, so they could have an opportunity to come back to themselves, take a break, figure out what their next step might be. Mm-hmm. And so in that chapter, I'm really interested in, and the same in every chapter in the book, really, but I'm really interested in getting to the root of some of these ideas of how we think about work. For Black women, I think our professional lives are the ones where we are, in most cases, kind of following in the footsteps. Like this is what I've seen. My parents worked hard. I'm going to do the same. They always say when a Black woman gets bored, she goes and gets another degree. Like we're very fine-tuned, to what it means to be professional and be in this world and strive and be ambitious. And so in this chapter, I really wanted to talk about some of those ideas in terms of success, imposter syndrome, sabbaticals, so that we can have a fuller understanding of what professional wellness looks like.
When I get off the air today, I'm going to Google Sweet Rest for Black men and see if there's an organization
that can fund you. Yes,
that will fund me to take 6, 7, 8 weeks off. I need some Sweet Rest. I would love for somebody to fund that. I'm going to Google that when I get off there. I digress on that for now. When we come forward, the next chapter I want to let her take us inside is chapter 7, Honoring Our Creativity, creative wellness. We spend time talking about mental and emotional wellness, not nearly enough, but we talk about that. We talk about spiritual wellness. We talk about physical wellness. We do that more often than not. But I'm fascinated by this chapter called Honoring Our Creativity, what it means to be well creatively for Black women. We'll let Tara Pringle Jefferson unpack that for us when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out.
Believe it.
Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Tara Pringle Jefferson, author of the new book, Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. We jumped inside the book just to give you a sense of what you're going to get when you pick up a copy of it. And chapter 7 is called Honoring Our Creativity, Creative Wellness. Talk to me, Tara.
Yeah. Creative wellness, this was my favorite chapter to write. And hopefully it shows in the book when people pick it up. It's my favorite chapter to write. I started it with a quote from my friend Melissa Kimball, who ran the organization Black Creatives. She had a billboard that was in a couple different cities in 2020 that said, "The world does not move without Black creativity." When you think about our influence in literature and food and music and fashion and beauty, Black creativity fuels so much of our society. And yet, on a individual level, I think it's probably one of the most neglected parts of our self-care practices. I think as a people, we are just inherently full of amazing creative ideas. Maybe it takes you a little bit of time to figure out which one of those is yours, where you actually thrive. But I think, in this chapter, I'm very interested in kind of sparking some idea of what you could possibly do if you're into fashion, if you want to try to draw, If you want to be a comedian, I interviewed one stand-up comedian and how she got started. It's really about thinking, and if we go back to that historical perspective, to be able to focus on creating for the sake of creating, to not have to sell your labor is something that a lot of Black women, our ancestors, that's a luxury they could not afford. They could not, afford to sit around and draw and sketch and do all of these wonderful things, write plays, etc., because they were busy. They had to work, they had to labor in order to take care of their families. And so now I'm encouraging us as part of our wellness habits, as part of our self-care routines, to think about those areas where we can immerse ourselves. Creativity is about self-expression. It's also stress relief. And going back to the question about stress management and stress relief. And so I hope when people read this chapter, by the time they get to the end, that they're thinking about, okay, I did when I was younger, I used to love to draw. I used to love to dance. I used to love to do all these things. Maybe I'll pick it back up.
Yeah. In one of the chapters in this book, I think it's chapter 3, but there were some words that just jumped off the page at me. And again, we're talking primarily about Black women. The book is called Bloom Where You Must. But these are questions that I wrestle with, and I suspect others will admit that they wrestle with when I share them here in a second. But they, again, jumped off the page at me because these are things that so many of us find so difficult to say, so difficult to confess. And Tara writes in this one chapter that it's critical for us to be able to just lay it bare. It's critical for us to be able to say simple things like, I don't know what to do. I'm tired and I have no more to give. I am overwhelmed and I need a minute to just be. When's the last time you said, I just don't know what to do? When's the last time you said, I'm tired, I just don't have any more to give right now? I'm overwhelmed, I need a minute to just be. Why do we find those things so difficult to say? We'll pick up on that with Tara Pringle Jefferson when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed, for just a few more minutes, 4 to be exact, in this conversation with Tara Pringle Jefferson about her new book called Bloom, How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. Why do we find it so hard to say these simple things, Tara, that might help all of us? I don't know what to do. I'm tired. I ain't got no more to give. I'm overwhelmed. I just need a minute. Those things seem simple enough to say, and yet so many of us, because we have been conditioned to extend ourselves to the point of exhaustion, yours truly included, just have a difficult time saying those things sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I love that you brought this out and brought this to the forefront with why it's so hard for us to say these things sometimes. I go back to a lot of research about the strong Black woman. And one psychologist, Dr. Shaniqua Walker Barnes, and I put her in the book as well, she talked about 3 distinct characteristics of the strong Black woman. And if you put them all together, the emotional strength, the caregiving, the independence, it really creates this environment where we keep everything that's bothering us to ourselves. Sometimes it's purposeful. Sometimes we're not even really thinking about it. We're not even really considering it. And I'm sure that there's other cultures and other folks who have, a similar type of identity other than a strong Black woman. But with Black women, that's typically what you find with us. We have that emotional strength, and we have that caregiving, and we have that independence, where we are determined to kind of go it alone. And the problem with that is because we appear to have it together, because we appear to be able to handle everything that life is throwing at us, we don't often get those offers to help. And so once we recognize our role in that pattern, then we can shift the pattern. Then we can say, okay, I've done it this way for a number of years, and at this point, I'm exhausted, and I actually need to try a different way. They talk about, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We have to try something new. And so I think that we can shift that, and we can say to ourselves, okay, if I practice vulnerability, and it's a practice, it's not necessarily something that comes easy to us, but if we practice it, put a little baby toe out in the pool of vulnerability and see how that feels. Soon you can kind of ease your way more and more into that pool. Get up to your knees, maybe get up to your thighs, but really figure out, how can I bring vulnerability into this situation and get comfortable with being vulnerable? That's one of the key ways to shift from I keep everything to myself, to shift it to I can share what's going on with myself, and people, if I give them the opportunity, they can show up for me.
With 60 seconds to go, I close with a question that I could have started this conversation with. I mentioned a few times, I love the title, Bloom, How You Must. How'd you settle on that title?
That title comes from a Lucille Clifton poem, Mulberry Fields, and it's the last line of the poem, Bloom How You Must, I Say. And I wanted this to be the title of the book. I never had another title in mind, but that poem is all about the ways that Black people continue to exist, even when history tries to erase us, even when we're not given the credit that we deserve, even when we're not given the respect that we deserve. So it's not, as I say in the first chapter, this book is not called Bloom How You Can. It's not Bloom How You Could Maybe. It's called Bloom How You Must.
It is indeed called Bloom How You Must. Great advice for all of us. The subtitle, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. The author, Tara Pringle Jefferson, who I've been honored to have had on the program to talk about her book. Congrats on the text. Thanks for the conversation. Enjoy the rest of your day and the holiday season. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Florida lawmakers are weighing 4 constitutional amendments to cut property taxes. Critics like Representative Toby Overdorf warn cities could struggle to fund police and may hike fees.
Property taxes are now going to be hitting almost $60 billion collected statewide.
The governor argues homeowners shouldn't pay rent through property taxes. Chicago's budget fight is heating up. Alderman Scott Wagaspak said the city leaves $1 billion uncollected each year and sent Black Mayor Brandon Johnson some savings ideas, which he dismissed as impractical. He also opposes Johnson's proposed $21 per worker monthly head tax. And Michael Jordan is suing NASCAR in federal court, calling it a monopoly. Jordan, co-owner of 2311 Racing, refused to sign NASCAR's new revenue deal, saying it limits team earnings. NASCAR denies any